Good evening, everyone. This is the one of the following. I was about to say episode X, but I have no idea which is the episode. It's midnight. So, team overview, Team Canada. We have our world champion with us, Francis. So, tell us about yourself, about the team.
Yeah, so basically, when we heard about having a second World Cup this year, Sean, who was leading last year, decided to let me be the leader of the team. I was just coming off winning Worlds, so he thought it was a good idea to have a world champion as the leader of the team, and I had the time to do it, so I accepted it. So what I decided to do is first of all ask the people who did play last year if they wanted to come back, because I thought it was the right thing to do to verify with our best players from last year. So we have a few returning players: Sean Emberley, myself, Michael Cito, Jake Blatt, and Patrick Nair. And then I verified with both Darknage and Alex Hines if they wanted to come back, and it was impossible for both of them. So from there on, I knew I had to find 4 new players. I
Each of
asked.
them is for 2.
Pardon me?
Both of them from the Beyond the Wall counts for 2.
That's the full 9. There's 2 players who had done not as well, and I knew were less interested in playing online. So I decided to ask first of all Adamo De Rosa, who people didn't know about much other than the Montreal meta. He was a good kid playing the game, and right after I asked him, he showed the world what he could do by winning Dance of Dragons.
Yeah, we saw
that. So I was pretty happy to see him get a confidence boost of winning a big tournament like that with some very good players. It was a perfect timing to have him join us at the same time as winning that event. So I was pretty happy. I always knew he was able to win tournaments. He just never had done it previously.
So
and then I verified with some West Coast players. I wanted to have more West Coast players as we only had Patrick Nair. So I talked to Patrick. I asked him who on the West Coast of Canada was good. Good players for Thrones. He talked to me about Randy Green, who I had never heard of before. Canada is a pretty big country, so we don't know each other that well. And I also invited Aaron Fred, who I didn't get to meet at Worlds, but I knew he was at Worlds. I knew he was a pretty good player as well. So I decided to ask both of them. And then there was one final spot for someone in Ontario and someone that I knew about from playing against him. So Drew Thompson was our final player on the list.
Okay, so looks like you had a very good draft of the players. So you participated last year with, as you said, Sean leading the team. So what are the expectations for this year?
We do want to get back to at least where we were last year. We finished top 4 losing to the UK, and we did lose to the UK round 1 this year. So it was a pretty hard blow to lose again to them. It would have been a big confidence boost to beat them this year. But we're still confident with our abilities to make it to the cut and then change our decks around with the new list that will be provided to have good decks to make it far into the cut. So we do want to get back to where we were last year.
Yeah. Well, there are a few new competitors this year, so.
Yeah. But losing round 1 hurts us a bit. But yeah, we feel like we are able to do it. Should be a good battle against Hungary this weekend. We can't wait to play.
Yeah.
And,
you touched a little bit on the draft of the players. Anything else to add there?
What I wanted to do as well is get.
Oh, come on, don't die.
World. Pardon me?
You stuttered for a second. Can you repeat?
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is have the best players for different factions. Not only have the best players possible. I knew that if I had the 9 best players who could only play one faction, it wasn't as useful as having diversified players. So that's how we decided for our group who's going to play which factions. I already knew in advance a bit by the players that I picked who was going to play where. Um, Also, picking which agendas per player was very difficult. It's something that I enjoyed doing, but it wasn't as easy as I thought.
So then, how was this all affected by the ban and restricted? How do you feel about the ban and restricted list? It's a pretty aggressive hit on the your winning world's deck.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I talked with Anil before when he started talking about doing a ban list or restricted list. He did come to me to ask me some questions. I before I even saw the ban list, I knew that Sea of Blood had to be banned. Um, I know how good the deck is, so yeah, I wasn't surprised by it. I think he made. Oh, pardon me. I thought he made some right choices. Wyman is probably the only one that is that got unrestricted that I thought was wrong. But other than that, I like it. It's a new challenge. I'm all up for a ban list in general with the conclave. I think it helps shake up the meta. I enjoy the list that Anil had. Uh, I don't know for my teammates. I probably Flea Bottom is the one that most of us could have maybe used in some of the decks or even trade routes. But banning some cards for us means it's banned for other people. So I felt pretty good about it.
No Kingdom of Shadow running over the field.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of tough choices, agenda combinations. So my first question here is: was there an agenda that you were sure gonna play in the team?
For myself,
no,
or for the team?
Somewhere in the team.
Crossing was one of them.
That's
for sure. I knew
it.
Crossing was going to be played. I think it's the best agenda right now. I knew we were going to use banner agendas. I thought we were going to use Valyrian Steel and trading with Qohor. I got fed up with it from testing. I thought I knew that Sean was playing John God, so I knew for sure that Banner of the Sun was going to be played.
Yeah, and it was unrestricted for the tournament a little bit, so.
Yeah, exactly. With Desert Raiders coming off, and I knew Jake Platt wanted to play Martel Wolf, so I knew that the Banner Wolf was going to be played. But other than Crossing and Qohor, I didn't think there was going to be Wars to Come as well. Sorry, Wars to Come being unrestricted meant that for sure it was going to be played.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, it depended on the players.
Okay, so then how do you approach the situation, and considering that there is only one agenda allowed per team?
So I did want to play Crossing. I like to play Rush, either aggro or Rush, but I knew that Stark playing Crossing was probably a better call. So I decided to not play Crossing. I was going to play a different version. No, I could have played Stark Crossing.
Okay.
But yeah, so I decided to play test Stark Qohor for a while for myself, and I knew that we wanted to play a burn deck. Drew Thompson is a good burn player, so we wanted a burn deck. Michael Cito, I knew was going to play Lannister. He was on Lannister Red Door for a while though, and changed for Lanny Kraken at the end. So I knew he was going to be there. I knew, like I said, Greyjoy's son and Martell's Banner Wolf. Adamo has a very destructive style of playing, so putting him on builders was a easy choice. So he tested it quite a bit.
Oh, I hate that deck with passion.
Same. I hate it as well. But it's his play. It fits his play style, so it was perfect for that. I think the hardest we had was for Baratheon.
Interesting.
Baratheon was either Cohort or Wars, but the Baratheon player is more of a control player than a rush player. So he
So Wars makes
decided
more
to play
sense.
Barrow Wars. Pardon me?
Yeah, I was about to say that Wars makes more sense if he's a control player.
Yeah, exactly. So playing more Neil, control and everything, it fit more into his playstyle. So we decided to leave him with Wars, and then Tyrell ended up on Tyrell Dragon. And I think it's the right choice to just try to Voltron and close the game as fast as possible for that deck.
Okay, so then Mystery Knight, you're in double Targaryen, I think.
Finding my deck,
No, no, no.
I was not.
The for the team, how did you decide the Mystery Knight, or that again was driven by the players that you have at your hand?
I just knew everyone was going to play which faction, and I was going to play Mystery Knight and find a deck for myself at the end. So that's how we decided it. But I was mostly going to play Targaryen since it's the faction I play the most with. But it just didn't feel right. I was trying Targ, Red Door, Dragon Pit. It just didn't feel right with the amount of testing I had played with it. It's really good, just maybe not as well suited for me.
Maybe.
So I decided last minute, so 2 hours before submitting the decks, I decided to try Greyjoy Prince. Probably should have tested it more. I'm not super happy with the final version of my deck, but I still felt very comfortable with it. So I decided to play Greyjoy Prince in the end.
Okay, so then the most important question: how did you arrange the order?
It's random. So basically, what I did is I picked the first guy went in the middle, and then second guy went on the left side of the numbers, and then the third guy on the right side. It was completely random.
Okay, so then time for a little bit of deck overview. So we'll go through your
Yeah.
decks and see what went there. So first is Baratheon Wars.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you all decided that it's shooting the player the most. So any specific reasons? I saw quite an interesting choice in the deck, like Public Execution. The meta went crazy when we saw the card, and then no one played it. So
the Barrow Wars was basically a deck of mine that I was playing for fun, and then when I heard that Randy wanted to play both Baratheon and a control deck, I sent the deck towards him before we saw the ban list, the finalized ban list and restricted list, and I sent it to him, and then we decided to work around some of the plots. Public Execution was there just for like I said, the deck was a fun deck at the beginning, but it's meant to do one thing, and that it's to control big guy decks. And I think it can do it pretty well. It just has to see some of the right pieces early, but other than that, it does very well. Some of his of the final plot choices I might have done different myself, but since he's the one.
Oh, we lost you for a second.
Yeah.
So regarding the plot choices.
Yeah, so he has two big money plots. He has both Late Summer Feast and Trading, I believe. And that's just, I'm less of a fan of it, but I play very few. If you look at my plot deck, it's very low on gold. I like to have my plot decks doing big things other than just giving me gold.
Yeah, march that way.
Yeah, I like I liked big effects instead of big gold. And the way I view it is that the plot deck is not random, so I can choose whenever I make my big effects. While if I have big money plots but I never draw the cards to play them, they're just useless.
Yeah. Okay. So next is Greyjoy's son. Greyjoy's son, Sean's deck.
Yeah, I didn't say anything to Sean other than
Desert Trader is unrestricted. Go.
Yeah, go for it. He's played so much Drawn Gods. He's so comfortable with it. He did make a few changes, knowing that Vince wasn't there anymore. He had a lack of military icons, so he added. That's why he added the
Beguiled?
no, the off to Gold Town
Okay,
journey.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a way of getting some icons,
Card draw.
and it just it draws you a card. Other than that, his deck is pretty straightforward. Plays Drawn Gods, tries to power rush the game.
In marshalling. Best wins in marshalling.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is Wani Kraken. So this is the deck that's made to hunt down those Nightwatch Summer decks, by the looks of it.
Yeah, so the deck is meant to be played for shadows, but it can also be very destructive on locations. And it also attacks the hand very well. It does a little bit of everything with shadows, where it steals you cards. It discards you cards from hand. It removes you location. It kills you characters. It does a bit of everything. And like I said, Michael was on the World Cup team last year. He's been on Lanny Shadows ever since. He played Lanny Shadows at World, so I was very confident with him playing Shadows again. Just needed to find the right agenda for him.
Yeah, one of the more surprising restricted cards here, we have Raider from Pike. Is that just because of the 3 pinches that go with the shadow situation? Come on. Sorry guys, Canada is very far away from here, so maybe that's why we have the connection is dropping for time to time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my connection went out for a few seconds.
Yeah, as I was saying, Canada is very far.
Sorry about that. So Michael, restricted card.
Raider from Pike.
Raider from Pike, and I think the reason is that we did want to play 3 pinch of powder.
Okay, makes sense.
So the combo is just very good to go by. So that's the reason why.
Underhanded methods gives you that extra strength that you need to.
Yeah.
We need out of the player.
And one of the things too is that he just didn't have any restricted cards at first. Like there's nothing he was finding that he really wanted, and since the Red Keep wasn't restricted for the World Cup, he didn't know what to play, so he decided to play a Raider from Pike.
It is a good effect. Very keeps you on the toes constantly. So three pinches is scary.
Yep, it's very fun.
Banner Wolf, Martel Banner Wolf.
Yeah, so like I said, Jake is someone who was very high on playing that deck right from the get-go. Let me just verify Splat deck. I think the one thing I would have done is probably switch one of the Valors for first snow. But other than that, I do think it's up to the player's choice as well, if he feels more comfortable with it. It's basically it looks like an upgraded version of what Leonard won Worlds with everything that's unrestricted. Like Dorn is not restricted. There's only Ward.
Interesting thing that I see with the 3 times Sword of the Giants, Lisa is not in the deck.
Yeah, I guess the character slots were very tight. I wanted him to try Jack and Hangar as well to surprise kill people. But he felt like it was necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but Lisa takes care of House with the Red Door. So.
Which one?
Lisa can hit the House with the Red Door location. One of the few ways that you can interrupt that situation.
Yeah, maybe he didn't look at the card. I don't know why he didn't play it. Like I said, he played a lot of Martel Wolf previously, so he felt comfortable with it. And I'm not a Martel player, so I let him play however he felt was best for himself. We didn't do as much playtesting as we would have liked. with that deck.
Okay, so then your deck, Princess
Uh,
as promised.
Yeah, so like I said, I was not able to find a deck I felt very comfortable with until I asked Michael for his Greyjoy deck from Canadian Nationals last year. I was like, I feel like Greyjoy is probably underplayed right now. Uh, People don't take for it specifically. And we had played a Greyjoy deck that was similar last year in the Swiss rounds for Team Canada, where it just wanted to go first. It wanted to intimidate people and rush to victory. But it was playing, it was a Greyjoy Reigns of Castamere instead of a Greyjoy Prince, and I wanted to have the ability to get Balon out or some other character without having to put Renown on them. And I thought Greyjoy Prince was a good deck. If you look around to other factions, there's a lot of Greyjoy Prince actually, so I was happy with my choice.
Yeah, it's more. I was expecting more Greyjoy Crossing, but the statistics
Yeah.
show Prince.
Yeah, I
Is the
think
deck
the
to
crossing went to Stark for most of the teams.
Yeah, that's definitely how things happen. And your camera finally unfroze.
Pardon me?
Your camera finally unfroze.
Oh, it was frozen. Sorry about that.
Now, next should be Night's Watch. I don't want. Can we skip this one? What's the
Yeah, well, it's a known deck, right?
it's 3 times Shoren, so at least this one is. I'm not. I don't have to ask embarrassing questions.
He wasn't. What we did is we took an old Night's Watch deck and then I just put it up to date.
I mean,
And
I
since
see
Yoren
cards
wasn't
that are
bad-
not builders in that deck, so they should be forbidden.
Pardon me?
There are cards that are not builders, they shouldn't be in the deck, I think.
But they're too good to not be added.
As someone playing Nightwatch Maesters, Murin is my favorite card in that deck.
Yeah, Maester Merlin is a very good card.
Maester Murin and Maester Murin. Solves problems, all kind of. Aside from burn, they don't like burn, but other than that,
yeah.
So yeah, pretty standard deck. Otel is a weird inclusion, considering you're running there is a Duheris in the deck, but other than that, pretty solid. I see Confiscation in another Nightwatch Summer deck that gave us trouble today for an hour and a half game, but we managed to pull it through over a Nightwatch Summer deck.
The reason why we added Confiscation was simply to so he decided to add Confiscation, and I felt good about that.
Can you repeat?
So we play tested a lot of games against Kohor, the Night's Watch against Kohor decks, and Seized by the Guard was just put on the wall and was auto lose for him.
Okay, so I mean, we today had Barakohor versus Night's Watch Summer for our matchup today. Managed to to win with Barakohor, but it was our player was getting desperate the whole week, testing, losing every testing game. So, but in the end, he pulled through. So
yeah, so actually, he lost Adamo lost the wall in the first game against a Greyjoy deck who stole the wall with Euron, and he still managed to win the game with Yoren.
Oh yeah, Yoren is just that good.
Yeah.
Next, Star Crossing.
So like
we're playing it.
Yeah, like I said, Stark Crossing is was pretty much the only. Well, we could have played Stark Fealty, but if I played Stark Fealty, I couldn't give the burn deck to Drew, so I thought Stark Crossing was a better choice. Probably wish I had more Alisane in the deck, but other than that, it's basically a deck that wants to rush you, and if it's able, also passive power game with Fat Cat.
Yeah, so a lot of sources.
Yeah, and Mira Reed was the obvious auto include as a restricted card.
I agree. Also, I'm no one. I'm expecting to see I'm no one hit in the next list. By the way.
Yeah, that card is very good,
especially for the crossing matchups. Now next is Targaryen fealty. So Burn,
Yes.
all the Burn, the
Yeah, exactly.
the third version of Burn, to be honest. Interesting restricted card with the King in the North.
Yeah, so I think one of the bad matchups for Burn is the control decks like Martel, and having 3 Beggar Kings with all the low gold plots. I thought it was a good idea to give King in the North. One of the other plays was also to add the Crown of Gold on Dany, and she can't die, so that's one of the fun plays to do. So all 4 attachments give the gold trait, the king trait,
trait.
pardon me.
Yeah.
And that's why we're playing Begging Brothers as well. Since you want to protect Dany as much as possible, you want to protect Drogon as much as possible. We decided to add Begging Brothers and play King in the North. So, yeah.
Okay, very interesting take on the Burn, a different one. So because it's usually go Assault, then House with the Red Door, then fealty.
Yeah. I think that Drew doesn't have as much time for testing as we would have liked, so we thought it was better to go with a fealty list that he was more comfortable with than trying to play a more tricky deck like Assault of the Shadows. And like I said earlier, the Red Door agenda was supposed to be played by the Lannister player at first, so we didn't test that one very much.
Yeah, we at our camp ended with Assault and Red Door, so because that's the flavor of Targaryen our players like. So
yeah.
And last but not least, Tyrell, Banner of the Dragon.
Yeah, so I was a big fan of playing Tyrell Dragon. I like Voltron decks. I think Tyrell does it very well. I think that deck was very good for a long time. So we decided to play Tyrell Dragon. I think he took a deck that had some success previously and fixed it with a restricted list. So he does play King in the North as well. And the basic idea is just to have Renly and Randall out with Queen's Guard on Renly and just win challenges. That's the basic strategy behind it.
Another card that's gonna go on the restricted list is Gift for my taste. So
Gifts for the Widow?
Yes.
I don't think that's the problem. It's a very good card, but you could restrict other cards.
I mean, considering that we have bribery and mercenary contract.
Oh, just ban one of them.
Just ban bribery.
Yeah, I don't like that combo either. I would have played it if it was legal, but it's not a good. It's not fun to play against.
Yeah, we are facing it this time around, but we'll see. So yeah, I think that's all the decks. At least I don't recall there is another faction. So
no, I think you went through all the decks.
Yeah. So any last words? Feeling about the tournament in general?
I'm super happy that Anil is running it again. I hope we do well. I hope more people are gonna play. I'm a bit sad that there's less countries than last year. I don't see Italy in the team, so I was a bit sad about that. But
Brazil
other than that,
is missing.
Pardon me?
Brazil is missing. Quiz is not playing, or he didn't get.
I think Chile's not playing either.
Yeah, those are the 3 that are missing. Actually, more are missing because there are new countries like.
Yeah, there's new countries.
Israel, Bulgaria. We managed to make a team this time around.
Yeah, and Austria as well has a country now. Well, has a.
Yeah, has a team now, and their team is pretty strong with Reinhardt on the helm.
So, yeah, I'm pretty happy for Austria to have a team. Yeah, I'm just happy to play again. It sucks that we can't play in person anymore, so at least we have this right now. Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Also, a lot of content drive to show FFG that they made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. I was pretty happy last year to be streamed, I think 3 or 4 times by you. So keep up the good work. I've been enjoying it. It's a very fun event. It brings people together. We talk with people that we never met before. We play against people from everywhere around the world, so it's very fun.
Yeah. Thank you again for joining me. For everyone else, tomorrow at 10:30 my time, if Hanus receives my message, we have Team Germany, last year champion, and our Master of Design. So that's when will be that interview, if we manage to sneak it half an hour earlier. And then for the day, we'll see how much streaming we'll do for that. Thank you everyone for joining us, and bye bye.
Thanks for having me, man. Have a good one.